Hello and welcome back to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Jarwin Home Care. Very glad you're still joining us. We appreciate it very, very much. Got some really cool things to talk with you about today in this segment as we welcome in Renee Naquin, PhD. Renee, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And so Renee works as an extension agent with the LSU Ag Center, right?
Correct.
And I think people think they know about sugarcane and sugarcane harvesting, but a lot of people don't know some of those specifics. So tell us why you got into that.
So I've been working for the LSU Ag Center for 26 years.
Wow.
I actually worked in the 4-H program, and about 3 years ago decided to kind of get in the ag area. My family, long line of sugarcane farmers, so it's a family thing. And this opportunity came up, so I decided to go for it. And I actually work in 7 parishes doing sugarcane and soybean work.
Okay.
So it's Assumption, Ascension, St. James, St. John, St. Charles, Lafourche, and Terrebonne.
Very cool.
Yes.
And look, my introduction is interesting because my introduction to learning about this was similar to yours, as we have a mutual friend in Mr. Ray Riche,
Yes.
who is an other father-in-law to me and a special guy. But he and Camco and some of the work that they did many years ago, and so you knew Ray.
Yes, and their work at Cameco kind of paved the way for the sugar industries with the technology that was happening there. So, it's a great group of people.
Wow, very cool. So one of those things that I think people don't necessarily understand is that we burn sugarcane, but people I don't know realize what goes into that.
Correct.
That's a pretty specific process.
It is. So basically, the reason that we burn the sugarcane, so when the cane, it's a management tool that is used in the sugarcane industry that is widely used. So when the sugarcane is harvested, when they're in the fields cutting it, there's a trash that accumulates, which is basically dead leaves that contain no sugar.
Right.
Well, once that trash starts to accumulate, it can be difficult to manage, and if it's not managed, it can actually slow the growth down for the crop for the next year. So therefore, that's where burning comes in to get rid of the trash in the fields.
Right. And that's a specific process, right?
It is. It is.
You can't just go out and burn sugar.
Correct. So for a grower to actually be able to burn in his fields, he actually has to go through, or she, we do have some women sugarcane farmers now.
Right.
They actually have to go through a prescribed burning class that is put on, and they have to take a test, and they have a lot of things that go into that. They have to have a burn plan. They have to burn on specific days during specific times and not around sensitive areas and such as schools and things like that. So it's not just I'm going in my field and I'm going to start burning. It's a whole process that they go through in order to do this.
And so very often, I think in our areas, we get a little nervous because we see how thick that smoke is. Is there a particular reason why it's so thick?
I think it's just, when you have fire, there's smoke and it's dead leaves.
And sometimes it's those fresh leaves too, right?
Correct.
So, and those tend to burn hot as well. And so tell us what goes on at the mill during the sugarcane as the processing takes place.
So the short story, I guess, once it gets to the mill, they wash it and then it gets shredded and then it goes through these large things where it gets they crush the juice out.
Okay.
And then from there, the raw sugar is taken from the juice, and that's what you have at the mill is raw sugar.
Right.
And then it actually goes on to a refinery where the impurities are taken out even more. And then from there, that's where you see the pretty white sugar that you buy in the grocery store.
Right. It goes from that raw sugar to that dry sugar, if you will. And so one of the things that people don't always understand, why does it smell so strong around sugar cane
So the
mills?
smell is actually organic acids that form when the sugar decomposes.
Okay.
And it's a great smell. That means harvest time is here and the
I
mill's
think
running
great
like
smell
it's supposed
may be
to.
perspective. Right. But it's during, and that's during a certain time, right?
Yes, it's during harvest time.
Harvest
Yes,
time. And so speaking of harvesting, we got an option to kind of show people what it's like. And we see this all the time, but I don't know if we realize how important that is. This is one of those machines that has really,
It's a chopper harvester, yes.
made a huge difference in how
Absolutely.
quickly we can do that, right?
Yes, yes.
So very cool. Now, how long is grinding season? Because we know we're harvesting here, but how long does that last?
So basically it's from October to the end of December, depending on the crop. It could go a little bit into January, but this year we started this week actually, and it's going to go to the end of December, approximately 84 days this year.
84 days. And so I know that they do a lot of different work at the mills, you know, in that downtime when it's not grinding season. I actually, you know, my other father-in-law
Right.
did some work with, and, you know, making sure that that's where they did a lot of work in the mills. And so it's a constant process.
It is a constant process. It's
right?
a year-long process, yes.
One question is that most people may not know is how often should we recycle those fields, those sugarcane fields, so that they get the best yield? Is that something we do every other year?
So basically, sugarcane is not, you don't go plant sugarcane seeds. You plant, it's a stalk, and it grows
right?
from the stalk.
Okay.
And you can usually get about three seasons with that particular, three to four with that particular crop.
With that crop. That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
And so I don't think people always really understood that. They kind of wonder what that rotation is, or
Right.
how they do that, or why they do that. And so lastly, it's very important. People in your family have done this for a long time. You've been dedicated for 26 years doing it. What are some of the ways we can support these local sugarcane farmers?
Just when you're out on the roads, especially right now during harvest time, be patient, leave a little earlier if you can, and also don't go into sugarcane fields right now. If you're planning to go into a sugarcane field for any reason at all, get permission from that landowner, because those tractors can't see you in there.
Right.
But the farmers want a safe harvest, you know, just like everybody else. They want your families to be safe as well. So,
Yeah.
you know, just
Wow. Well, Dr. Renee, I can't thank you enough for coming on and kind of educating us about what we need to know about sugarcane and harvesting. And we'll look forward to that and kind of respect our sugarcane farmers and what they
Yes.
need. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And that will do it for this particular segment of Bayou Time. Don't go anywhere. A lot more local programming right here on HTV.